Welcome to Liberation Day.
Here we are, Glenn. We made it.
We made it to Liberation.
Yeah.
I've got my tree decorated. And
you do?
Yes,
You've got a Liberation Day tree?
I do.
Why is it called Liberation Day? Do we know this?
No, I don't have any idea why. May I speculate?
Sure.
Speculate why he's calling this Liberation Day. I think this is totally, right out of the Glenn butt. So I have no idea.
What a great way to start the show.
You should wash it before you use it with somebody else. But the reason why
used a drug mule, you know what to do with this particular product.
So I think it's Liberation Day. Because what do you think of when you think of Liberation Day? When was the last Liberation Day?
I mean, it's like freedom. It's World War II. It's
World War II. Exactly. Mm-hmm. It's the end of World War II. Okay. What happened at the end of World War II? We set all of the American century into place. We did Bretton Woods, the gold standard. We were the leaders of the world. We were the ones that broke all of the records. It was the American century. Okay?
Sounds good.
That's Liberation Day. That's what happened. We set everything into motion on that day. I think Trump has selected that particular phraseology because he sees this as the new reset of everything that we did after World War II. That era is over. We're not playing by those rules anymore. Look at everything is up for grabs. I mean, NATO is up for grabs. Everything that we once did because of the system set up after World War II, he's ending it, and he's starting something new. I think that's why he's calling this Liberation Day. This is, we went over and we rebuilt Europe, and because of that, we're kind of in the situation that we're in now. We just kept saying, you know what? You're right. We're going to help you. We're going to help you. We're going to help you at our own expense. And it wasn't actually anything. I don't think it was anything that was so, oh gosh, we're just good people. We wanted, in the 1970s, we wanted to have war. We wanted to have Vietnam. And we wanted to have this big welfare state, okay, under Johnson. And we couldn't afford both. And so what did Nixon do? Nixon came in and said, well, we got to get off the gold standard because we have to print money because there's no way to afford both these things. So we have to print money. So we wanted all of it. We wanted to have our cake and eat it too, or eat our cake and have it too. We wanted the whole thing. When we got off the gold standard, the whole world panicked and said, wait a minute. You promised us gold standard, and now you're starting to screw with things. You're going to print all this money. We said, no. Here's what we're also going to do. We've made all the refrigerators. We've made all of the Magnavox televisions. We've done everything, but we've done it, and we've rebuilt your economies, Japan, Europe. So now it's your turn. You've been buying all of our products, but now we're fat and wealthy. So we're going to help ship all that manufacturing over to your countries, and we'll buy your refrigerators, Mexico. We'll buy your cars, Japan, Germany. And so we flipped it. And what happened? Because of that, we intentionally rotted our own country. Why was Billy Joel singing about Allentown? Because all of the jobs were shipped overseas.
And he's a liberal, but yes. Yeah. That is why he was singing about Allentown.
Right. But it was true. These towns rotted because we were shipping all of our jobs overseas. We bought into the global government thing. We bought into the global...
globalization is the way they usually say.
Yeah, globalization. We bought into all of that. He doesn't buy into that. I no longer buy into that. It's nice to be able to sell things and have an open and free market, but we are now in real trouble. And this is what Donald Trump does understand, that I don't think anyone else really understands what he's trying to do. And it doesn't mean that I agree with it. I mean, Stu, you and I have disagreed. I mean, I had a 30-minute conversation with the president on the phone one day just about tariffs.
Yeah. People are like, are you going to come out and say what you think about tariffs? You said it to Donald Trump's face over the phone, I guess.
Yeah.
But yes.
I mean, we had a long conversation about it. I disagree. He knows I disagree with it. Mm-hmm. However, I'm trying to make sense of what he's doing.
Yeah.
And I don't like tariffs for tariff's sake. And he's always said, I just love tariffs. Well, I don't. However, what is he actually trying to accomplish here? What he's trying to accomplish is liberation. He is trying to get us out of that globalization idea where we can just be buyers and not producers. He's trying to get all these jobs to come back and, car companies to make cars here in America, for us to make steel and aluminum and everything else here in America, so we can produce our own things. We can stand on our own 2 feet. So this isn't a tariff that is just trying to give us free trade, if you will. Okay, you're going to charge us that for milk, then we're going to charge you this. We're going to charge the same thing you charge us. That way, I guess we have an open and free market based on what you're charging. We'll charge you the same. Okay? That's not the goal here. The goal is to bring back manufacturing. And that is a long-term goal. He is changing everything that we have done for the last 80 years. He's changing all of it. And this is a big part of changing that, to bring manufacturing back. That's why I just don't believe anybody who says this is going to be temporary. He's gonna put these things in and then he's going to say, you know what? Okay, all right, we compromised. I don't think so. This is long-term pain. And that's another thing that I don't think that they're explaining well enough to the American people. We all know the country has cancer, right? We all know our finances it's cancerous. It will kill us soon. It will kill us. Do you think we're all in agreement of that? On our honest moments.
We get all sorts of trouble that we're facing, yes.
All sorts of trouble, okay? And we've caused it. We've caused it by spending too much. We've caused it by shooting ourselves in the foot with our own, production, et cetera, et cetera. We've caused a lot of these problems. So how do we get out of this? Well, when you're in this situation and you are up to your eyeballs in debt, there are only two things you can do. Well, 3 things. You can declare bankruptcy, which the United States can't. The next thing is you can just cut your spending and you can slowly get out of debt. Okay. But that just means years and years and years of paying down at high interest rates all of that debt. The other thing is you get a second job or you get a better job. That's the most positive one. Get a better job. Make more money. You can pay the debt down faster and you can grow. Every other option does not allow you to grow. So that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to get a better job. He's trying to bring manufacturing down back home. So we have something real, not printing money, something real that will grow our economy so we'll be able to afford our debt. And hopefully we use this money to not only grow the economy, we also use it to cut our debt, not our deficit, our debt, because that's the real cancer. So what people are not talking about today is this, I believe, is intended pain. He has said this a few times, but I don't think they are framing it enough. He's said several times, this is going to cause pain. This is going to hurt for a while. Okay? But just stick with me. Okay. What he really needs to say is, we have cancer. We all know we have cancer. The body is dying. I am a cancer specialist, and this is my radical treatment plan. My radical treatment plan is chemotherapy. Your hair is going to fall out. You're almost going to die. It's going to cause you so much pain for a long time. But I believe it's the only way to cure the body and get rid of this cancer. Yeah, but it's poison. Yes, I know it's poison. It is. But it's the only thing that we have that we know of that can cure cancer right now. And it may not work. And it will cause an awful lot of pain. Now, you can argue about chemotherapy, but if you keep arguing about chemotherapy and you're not doing anything to treat the cancer, you are going to die. So you've elected me as your surgeon, and quite honestly, if you have a better idea, I'd love to hear it. The problem is, all of the other doctors in the room are saying you have a head cold. It's clear you have cancer, but nobody wants to tell you that because chemotherapy is so very, very painful that they think it's just better just to say, oh, no, you've got a head cold. I'd take another direction if anyone had a better idea or could even step to the plate and say, we have cancer and the country is going to die. So what he's doing is when he says there's pain, think of it chemotherapy. We have caused these problems since the 1970s. It's not going to be easy to fix. We have spent ourselves into oblivion since the 1970s, and it's not going to be easy to fix. This is the pain that Ronald Reagan said would come where you're left with no good choices. The doctor we just hired says, I think it's chemotherapy. Now, there are some others that say, no, if you eat this diet, okay, that might work, but that's not the doctor we hired. And it's also not what people are saying. They're saying, I don't want any pain. You can't cure this without pain. And what I wish the White House would do was explain this better and say, look, there is real pain that is coming, and it is going to hurt a lot. But they don't want to. He's saying it, but nobody else is relaying that message except for him. Nobody else is saying this is going to cause real pain. And I think it is. Whether it works or not is like chemotherapy. I don't know.
And he deserves credit for the results.
Yes, one way or another.
One way or the other.
And you know what, Stu? I was thinking about this today. This is as dangerous politically, figuratively, as what he was doing in August when he was standing in open fields campaigning.
After the shooting.
Right. He knew people were trying to shoot and kill him, and he'd still go out into open fields because he was like, no, it's the right thing to do, and I'm not afraid.
It's living on the razor's edge a little bit.
Living on the This is a bullet that, if it doesn't work, is going to kill his presidency. Okay? There's no two ways about it. This will be the end of his presidency if this doesn't work. Now, if he would say it's going to hurt for a while, that would be helpful because prepare people. It's not going to happen overnight.
Would it? Because that's an interesting theory. I think we would both agree if he ran on with the selling of, hey, we have cancer and we're going to give you chemo, it's going to be terrible. I don't think he would win. Right? Like, you can't run with that message, I don't think. With that serious of a framing. I think explaining that to people now might help cushion what might be coming. And again, maybe it won't be that bad. We'll see.
Well, look, we just need adults in the room. That's what we need. No politician is willing to be an adult. We don't have any
of those in this country, just so you're aware.
We don't. He is. I believe he is.
I believe he is. I think he might be more optimistic than I am on some of the results here.
Yes.
But also, I think he is aware. He has communicated it many times that there is going to be pain associated with this. It's not some magical pill that you take and the cancer goes away tomorrow and you look like Brad Pitt.
And
that's not the way it works.
The other thing is he's about to give us high doses of chemo and radiation, and the patient with cancer is still smoking. We're still spending all of this money. We're still acting the same way. I haven't seen massive, and it doesn't mean it hasn't happened. I just haven't seen the reports of massive deregulation yet and massive tax cuts. They've got to happen so people can create jobs.
There's definitely people in the White House leaking and teasing tax increases.
Yeah, I know.
Along with this. And of course, obviously, that's sort of what tariffs are as well.
That's more smoking.
Yeah, and I think that's the other argument, right? he's already working on stopping the smoking with Doge and all these other approaches, which are really good and can help your cancer.
Yes.
And the question is whether you could really help the situation by doing those things. And that's what, again, he deserves credit for, right? Like this is sort of a unique Trump philosophy that he has adopted over the past 50 years.
50 years. He's been saying this since
very
the 80s.
Consistent on it.
Yeah.
He's become president twice saying it.
And he's
going to try it.
Just so you know, this is not about, us paying off our taxes or anything else. That's not what this is really about. He believes those would be benefits, but I don't know if that's true or not. What he is saying is we have to rebuild the infrastructure. And the only way to do that is to make it so painful that Mercedes-Benz says, okay, you know what? We're going to just open up a factory in America. Good. Now we're creating jobs here in America. And I'm going to give you two cities, a tale of two cities that explain our choice in 60 seconds.
All right, spring is here. Baseball season officially underway. Don't miss the chance to bring your favorite players into your Prize Picks lineup. Whether you're thinking strikeouts or RBIs or first inning runs, they have so many great categories. You can choose more or less for those statistical categories for a couple players, and you can win up to 1,000 times your cash. With over 10 million members, billions in winnings already awarded, Prize Picks is redefining daily fantasy sports, making it fun and easy and rewarding for everybody. Get in the action today. The app is really simple to use. If you've never done Prize Picks before, you're going to love it. Getting excited about powerhouse hitters like Mookie Betts or Trey Turner or Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Don't waste this opportunity to win big while watching all of the action play out. Prize Picks is the best way to do this, and it's available in more than 40 states now, including California and Texas. Download the app today. Use the code STU. Get $50 instantly after you play only $5. The code is STU on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play only $5. Win or lose, you'll get that $50 just for playing, guaranteed. It's Prize Picks. Run your game.
Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
10 seconds, station ID.
Okay, so there are two cities in America that I would say are the big growth cities in America. Now, there are growth states, Texas and Florida, and that's because of freedom. That is because the states don't get in your way. They don't have a lot of red tape, and they're attracting companies because they have very low taxes, if taxes at all, in those states. Okay? That's why those states are growing. But there's two other states, and I think there are two other cities that I think represent the choices in front of us. One that is growing is Silicon Valley. And that is because all these entrepreneurs came together in one place, and they're like, we've got an idea. Let's completely change the world. And they changed the world, okay? Like it or not, Silicon Valley has changed the world. That's why there are more billionaires there than any other place on earth, because they thought differently and decided they were going to build something and change the world, and they did. The other city that's growing nonstop, at least up until recently, Washington, D.C. And that's your other choice. You can either create something of value that keeps growing and will grow the economy, okay? Or you can create a government economy that only grows the destruction of your tax-paying dollars, does not create any wealth at all, doesn't create anything new, just creates jobs, and those jobs never bring in any additional income. Those are your choices, America. Which one do you want to be?
This is Glenn Beck.
Okay, in a world full of crashing waves, you want to be a solid rock. You want to be able to stand strong while everything around you fluctuates amidst the chaos. And there's plenty of chaos. Inflation is still a problem. The dollar is still worth far less than it should be. And there's still a lot of people out there working to remove the dollar's status as the world's reserve currency. And every day, a little bit more of your wealth, for which you just worked so hard for, just kind of slips down the drain. America has cancer. It's time to decide you're not going to take it anymore. And that means build the hedge against inflation, against insanity around your wealth. You've been meaning to do it. You might even been telling yourself, I don't have the money. Or you've been saying, I got to get around to it one of these days. One of these days, you keep piling up tomorrow. You're going to be full of nothing but empty yesterdays. Make sure you do it today. Lear Capital, 800-957-GOLD, 800-957-GOLD. Get your free $4,200 gold report. Call them at 800-957-GOLD, 800-957-GOLD. Ask about getting up to $15,000 in free gold or silver with qualifying purchase. Call 800-957-GOLD. Lear Capital. Do it now.
Subscribe to blazetv.com today. blazetv.com/Glenn. You get $40 off your annual subscription today.
From the heart of the home of the free, Dallas, Texas, at the Mercury Studios. Welcome. It's the Glenn Beck program. I don't know if you saw the news yesterday. This is a little frustrating, predictable, but frustrating. By 2023, Joe Biden's allies were quietly preparing for the unthinkable, we find out yesterday, his death in office by 2023.
I mean, I'm glad he made it.
I am too.
However, it wasn't unthinkable.
No, I know.
I just got to say.
Well, it was because they kept saying that he was in perfect health and he was never healthier than anybody else. There's a new book out called Fight, Inside the Wildest Battle for the White House by Amie Parnes and Jonathan Allen. Hey, thanks for the update now, guys. We had no idea. I mean, you did if you paid attention and you realized that you weren't being told the truth and you just watched. But what we were never shown were the fluorescent tape marking his path at public events to keep him from wandering off. Did you know that? The death pool roster that the White House had, that Kamala Harris's team drew up, listing the federal judges who might swear her in if his heart stops. Did you know this was happening? Did you know? Whew. I mean, his health and his brain activity was so bad that they had a resident makeup artist on hand all the time, not just to make him up to enhance his appearance in case he goes on television, but to mask the shell that he had become. Stephen Miller said they were literally Michael Jacksoning him, a reference to the late pop star-owned cosmetic cover-ups, while dismissing skeptics as conspiracy theorists. In some days, Biden would endure the makeup ritual, only then to cancel all of his briefings entirely and call it a day.
What?
Uh-huh. So I want to know who sanctioned all of this.
Yes.
Because the aides knew it. All the leadership in the White House knew it. Mm-hmm. The people that applied the makeup knew it. The schedulers who cleared his calendar knew it. Why wouldn't they say? Were they protecting the president? Because you're supposed to protect the presidency. The president and the presidency. And the presidency is even more important. That's why if Barack Obama, and we talked about this years ago, Barack Obama would have invited me to the White House, I would have absolutely gone like Bill Maher did. I would have been polite. I would have, shaken his hand. I would respect him.
Respect the office.
Because I respect the office.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to like the man. I respect the office because the office is more important than any man. Then came the moments we're finding out in this new book of the cognitive unraveling. It was there in plain sight, but if you said anything about it, remember, you were a conspiracy theorist. So Eric Swalwell, the congressman, he comes to the White House, and he's supposed to meet with the president. They meet, and Biden doesn't even know who he is, has no idea who Congressman Swalwell is. Swalwell had to say, remember me, I'm a congressman. I worked on this with you and this, and he was like, oh, yeah, that's right, I remember. Holy cow.
How did we make it through that? I mean, only God could have got us through that, I swear.
How did we not know? Why were no cameras allowed to capture it? Why didn't anyone say anything? Why were there no leaks on this? You are committing an act of treason, I believe, to the country. If you've sworn an oath to the country, to the Constitution, why are you not warning on this? Who's making the decisions? Why did no one sound the alarm? Shouldn't Swalwell do it himself? Of course. Then everything comes crashing down in 2024. Biden steps down as the Democratic nominee. It was forced on him by Barack Obama and Nancy Pelosi. And then what we didn't see was the backstage backstabbing that was going on. Harris, remember when this happened, Biden came out and said, I'm stepping down. No endorsement. And then like 30 minutes later, this endorsement for Kamala comes out, right? Well, now we know what happened. Kamala calls and says, hey, you've got to endorse me or they're going to go for an open, Barack Obama and Nancy Pelosi, they want an open primary. You got to endorse me. And so he does. He endorses just to screw Nancy Pelosi and Barack Obama. Nobody's talking about the screwing of the system. He's painted as a hero for doing something brave when he intentionally screwed the system because he wanted to screw Nancy Pelosi and Barack Obama. Okay? Nobody says anything about it, just the noble farewell to him. He's just great. Nobody heard about the power plays. Nobody heard about the backstabbing. Nobody heard about the subversion of the Constitution here. Okay, great. And again, nobody says anything? Nobody says anything. Huh. Why? Why weren't we allowed to see? And how deep did this actually run? Who is responsible? Who is giving the orders? Who is telling everybody to shut up as they Michael Jackson him? Why did no one say, I've got a real problem. We have to put little fluorescent stickies on the floor so he knows where to walk. Isn't that a problem? Well, there was nobody that said, by the way, we're just trying to line up the right justice to swear her in because we want that photo op. We want that to look really good. We want the correct justice. Holy cow. What else don't we know? What about the memos? Any memos buried? How about the doctors? Remember when the doctors were going there like, no, he's fine. He's fine. He just, you know what? I had a problem. I had some toenail fungus, and I asked him to look at my feet because he is so fine that he's almost a doctor right now. He's so sharp. What happened in those? Remember those meetings? And the doctors came out and they were like, wait a minute, aren't you a guy that specializes in dementia? No. Why weren't we told this? These are the questions that you must ask because no one else will. Who else knew? Cabinet members, obviously the First Lady. And I'm going to stop calling them the press corps because they really are. They're dead to me. They're the press corpse. They really are. Let's pronounce that as it's spelled. Pronounce it incorrectly because they are the press corpse. They're as useful as dead people. Why were they so eager to debunk anybody as cheap fakes? Why wouldn't they dig into any of these? Why weren't we trusted with the truth? What medical reports were suppressed? Who gave the orders to keep this going? And what's going to happen to the media? All those that knew, here's what's going to happen. Nothing. Believe me, nothing. They all knew. At best, they all just convinced themselves that it wasn't true. They allowed their own mob to convince them that, nobody really knows what the truth is. And it's better for America to hide it. That's what they've convinced themselves of. But that's not their decision. It's not their job. It's our decision. Their job is to tell America the truth of what's really going on and let us decide. Because this is all of our country. This is not just the Democrats or the Republicans, and certainly not the elites in Washington. It's we the people, not we the press, not we the educated, not we the elite, but we the people, all of us. We're paying a price for all of this. Will they pay a price? Will anyone who still watches them stand up and say, wait a minute? I mean, I just read the New York Times, and you're now covering all of the things you told us were conspiracy theories on Ukraine. In fact, it's worse than what the conspiracy theorists were saying about what we were doing in Ukraine. You told us that we weren't funding color revolutions with USAID, but now it comes out, yes, we were. The Great Reset, conspiracy theory, no, it's real. COVID, nope, didn't tell us the truth. Masks, vaccines, our kids being kept out of school, Russiagate, on and on and on. All of the lies. Will they pay with the price of the price they should pay? Embarrassment and shame for what they've done just for power. No, they won't pay. And you know why? Because the tale that we are reading or expected to read in this new book out, the tell-all book about how bad it really was, and nobody knew except everybody knew. The real story there of Biden's decline is a mirror. And it's not reflecting one man's fall, but it reflects our willingness to look away until it's too late. That has to change. And until it does, it goes right back to the opening monologue in today's broadcast. Donald Trump is at least telling us we have to do these things if we want to be competitive. That's the closest we've gotten to a doctor that actually, one, that will tell you the truth. The country has cancer, and it's got to stop. We have to cut it out. So here's the chemotherapy. It's these trade barriers. You may not like them, but you hired me to cure the patient, and I think chemotherapy is the only way, and it's going to hurt a lot. When's the last time you heard a president tell you the truth on anything? When's the last time you heard the press tell you the truth? And here's the truth. Everything we're facing right now is a little scary. And you know why? Because we haven't faced it when it wasn't scary, when it was just a choice. We made all of the easy choices. You know this with your kids. You're like, why just put a little extra work into it, and your choices, all these doors will open up. But the more you don't do, the more you avoid, the more doors that close for you. And at the end, you're not going to like the doors that are left because they're going to be so few, and you're going to be like, okay, I guess I'm going to be that guy for the rest of my life. Well, that's what we're doing as a nation. The same thing that we bitch about with our kids. Just do the right thing, and all of these options are in front of you. But every day you choose not to do the right thing, those doors close more and more every single day. Let's open those doors back up. But that requires all of us. And I don't know if you're going to get those people. I'm going to talk about it if I have time today. I don't know if you're going to get those people that have been sucked into this system. I mean, here's another example. They're just showing you they lied to you. They lied to you over and over again. Are you ever going to be able to convince those people that are still watching the people that lied to them? You ever going to get them to wake up? I don't know. I honestly think that the left is creating a new Palestinian state. They are creating the same thing that, honestly, they created over the last 70 years. This bogus story about Palestinians, this is their land, and the Jews had nothing to do with it, and whipping these people up into a frenzy to where they have no other options other than kill the other side. They won't listen to reason anymore. They can't even see it because they've been trained almost since birth to hate the other side. And if you think that's hyperbole, just look at who is supporting the Palestinians and all of the lies. Look who is saying on October 8th, well, that's okay, the Israelis deserved it. What? The same people who are the author of these lies about our country. Let's pray for our neighbors and our friends and our family that haven't woken up yet. More in a second. Simply Safe. Some things in life are just out of your hands. You can't control the weather. You can't control the stock market. You can't control whether or not your number has come up. And some criminal has decided to break into your home. What you can decide is what you're going to do about that possibility. May I recommend that you get security from Simply Safe. Their state-of-the-art equipment and monitoring plans, like their Live Guard protection and Fast Protect monitoring, takes care of things that in case a burglar does enter your home, they can even talk to the burglar through the system, frightening them away from the property most times, just going, hey, by the way, we're calling police right now. We're watching you. We have you on camera. And you don't have to take my word for it. Millions of people all over the country trust Simply Safe to protect their homes. They're rated #1 in consumer reviews. It's the kind of peace of mind that doesn't break the bank, too, and that's the kind of peace of mind you really want. Especially now, simplysafe.com/Beck. Claim 50% off the new system with a professional monitoring plan and get your first month free. Simplysafe.com/Beck. There is no safe like Simply Safe.
Well, I guess we'll give you a minute to let all that sink in. More Glenn Beck coming up.
All right, so the Blaze subscribers have a lot to say today. AC said on the cancer monologue that I started this hour with, it's time. It's all being used against the American people. We're done being the doormat of our abusers. We don't like it anymore. Chris, the real cancer is a godless nation. Patriot said, after the last 4 years, I can't afford any more pain. How long will this take? Unfortunately, years, I think. T, this is minor pain. If the economy collapses, that's major pain. And you're right, and that's what I was trying to point out. The economy will collapse because look at the rest of the Western world, what they're doing. They're still going down this road of madness. They're still opening up their borders and punishing the people that grew up in those countries, that like those countries. They're putting those people in jail. They're also continuing their crazy spending, their tax policies, everything else. They are going to collapse. R said, things made here are so expensive because of unions and regulations. So the imported things will just get more expensive and nothing else. I hope not, but you might be right, R. T said this is minor pain. On the Biden story, Corgi Mom said, if you are at the point where you have to follow stickers on stage, you can't decide to screw Nancy Pelosi at that stage. If you would like to be part of, I could take that another way and say, really, that only somebody with brain fever would be somebody that would say, screw Nancy Pelosi. But I think we might be talking about two different things. Go to blazetv.com/Glenn. Get $40 off right now your subscription, blazetv.com/Glenn, and join the family. All right, Stephen Moore, Tariffs, next.
This is Glenn Beck.